Tracy Naprotnick from CambryCounty.com. I am so thrilled to be here today from an attorney that has a lot of great information for us. I know my own personal family was like looking for information. We came across an event that he was doing. And we thought, you know what, we need to bring this to CambryCounty.com so that you guys can have the resources that he offers too. So today we're going to be talking with Dan Hill from, what is the name of your company? Hill Group, right?
The Hill Group. That's it,
easy
Tracy.
enough. Awesome. All right. So Dan, tell us a little bit about yourself. First of all, are you a Cambry County native? Did you, grow up here? Did you move here? Let's talk about that real quick.
I am indeed a native, and thank you for having me before we get started. But yeah, Tracy, I've been in Cambry County for most of my life, actually. I grew up in Upper Yoder, right by St. Clement's Church, where my mother actually still lives to this day. I went to Westmont Hilltop High School, where I also attended with my now wife. We would have never believed that back then, by the way. From Westmont, I attended UPJ. I'm a very proud alumni of UPJ. I have several family members that have gone there and one that's there now. From UPJ, that's when I ventured out of Cambria County. So I went to law school at Widener-Harrisburg, and I went there on full scholarship, thankfully. It was a true blessing, changed my life, to be honest with you. Encouraged me to work hard. So I worked very hard in law school and began my legal career actually in Pittsburgh, where I spent the first 3 or 4 years. But my wife and I had always had an urge to kind of move home when we wanted to start a family. So back in 2007, that's when we ventured back to Cambria County, and I've been practicing here in Cambria County ever since.
That's awesome. So I hear a lot of people that, move away, but when they come back and they have families, I know that happened with myself too. I said, I'm going to Las Vegas, or I'm going to, California. And I had plans to go, and I was young and I was like motivated to like just be around so much. And then I said, you know what, if I have kids, I don't know. I love Cambria County. I love, I am right on the outskirts. Someone says, you have a company called CambryCounty.com and you don't live there. I grew up there. I had a home there. I had business properties there, rentals.
Yeah.
And I said, and now I am such on the little tiny outskirts. So we're right in Indiana County, but I shop in Cambry County a lot. So I love it.
Yeah.
It's such a great place to raise kids. And you know what? A lot of times people will say, it's bad. It is not bad. There is, if you go to all these places, we have one of the safest communities that are out there. It is a beautiful place to raise children. So
my wife and I were those people, Tracy, that were never coming back. We had our bags packed. We had taken off. We were living the big city life in Pittsburgh. But it is true. When you come time to where you want to settle down, there's no better place to raise a family than this area. And we can offer anything that any other area does. You just have to look for it.
Yes. And there's so much growth happening, like everybody are seeing the different posts and Instagram and everything else that people are saying, wow, like there are really great businesses coming, restaurants coming. There's a lot of people working for this town, and it's already good, and it just keeps getting better. So thank you for also being in the community. So what made you become a lawyer, an attorney?
I didn't know what I wanted to do with myself, Tracy. That's the truth.
Okay.
It really was. I graduated with a political science degree, which kind of limits your career options in ways. I always had an affinity for just understanding the rules, whether it's the rules of life, the rules of work, you name it. And that's what becoming a lawyer kind of gave me the ability to do. It teaches you just how to understand how things work, how to understand the rules behind things, and really opens the door to any kind of career you want to have in almost any industry. I took a sort of a strange trajectory. I've done a little bit of everything. I started my career working in great big firms in Pittsburgh doing commercial construction litigation, which is exciting as it sounds, but you have to cut your teeth for a couple of years as a lawyer. You come out of law school and you don't really know how to be a lawyer yet. You kind of do that on the job training. So you kind of get thrown into whatever you can handle. It was a great way to open my career, but it wasn't really what I saw myself doing. I transitioned from that into family law. I was a family law attorney for the better part of 15 years. And that's what I truly enjoyed. I liked working with families, just down to earth people like myself, folks who were having a hard time with some kind of situation they didn't understand. And if I could help them understand that and find a way through it, that was what was satisfying to me. However, my work with families sort of transitioned from there. I was very good at doing custody, divorce, all those terrible things people go through, but just wasn't a very rewarding way to practice. So I ultimately turned my attention to doing what I do now. What I do is help families now in a much different way at a different phase of their life. I practice elder law. So what I do as an elder law attorney is I work with people who want to basically get their estate planning together, but they want to do it with a focus on asset protection. That's what makes me different. I focus on protecting your money from the kind of things that can go wrong in life that are unfortunately beyond our control. The biggest problem we all face is healthcare. It's an unsad reality, but I like to say in my presentations that we have in this country what I like to call a jacked up healthcare system, Tracy. All
That's
right.
for sure.
That's legal terminology for you there. All right.
Yep.
It's a mess. It truly is. We can't control the fact that we're going to have our health fail at some point. It's a sad reality we all face. I feel we should be able to do it with dignity. I feel we should be able to do it in a way that doesn't exhaust our resources. And that's what kind of spurred me to build my practice to where it is today. I saw a huge need in this area for what I was doing. When I first got into elder law, I was actually practicing all across the state of Pennsylvania. I had a good friend who needed help down east in his firm, and I was working everywhere, just trying to immerse myself in this and learn as much as I could about it. But what I was realizing was the real need was here back home. Unfortunately, I work with a lot of clients who are aging past their resources. Care can be extremely expensive in this country. And a lot of people either weren't able to plan for it or just didn't plan for it financially, and they find themselves in a situation that's very difficult. What I like to do is help people through that in a very human way. That's another thing that makes my firm very different, and I'm proud about that. I tell everybody who comes to meet me for the first time that my law firm is unlike any law firm you're ever going to experience, because no offense to lawyers, I don't like them that much either. It's okay to say it out loud, Tracy. It is.
Yeah.
I don't mean to say that lawyers are bad people. Please don't take that the wrong
Yeah.
way. I have a lot of problems with the way the industry works. I don't like that people have to pay to get advice. I don't like hourly billing. I just think it's a very inefficient way to practice law, and I don't think it does people a good service. So my law firm is very different. Virtually every client that comes to me, Tracy, is coming to me because they're in a situation they don't understand and they have questions they need answers to pretty quickly. I hear it all the time. Been taking care of my mom for 2 years. She was doing pretty good. My gosh, she had a stroke though last week, and now the doctor is talking about long-term care. I don't know what that means. I'm in charge of her house. What's going to happen here? Well, I think it's awful to tell that person, if you want to know the answers, give me $300 to see if I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I just don't do that. So at my law firm, what makes us so different, Tracy, is we focus on education. So about every 2 weeks at my law firm, I hold what I call a workshop. It's a 90-minute presentation I give that teaches anybody who wants to come see it all the basics about estate planning and what they need to know about asset protection for themselves. And I'm very proud of how I present this because I don't teach it like a lawyer. All right. I teach it in a way that makes sense to anyone. That's what I pride myself in. I've always had a knack in my career for making things understandable. And I think that's what a lawyer should do. We're here to help you understand what you're going through, not talk above you with what you're going through.
You said that's 2 times a month. What are the days on that and the times for the people watching?
I do them. So I do them, Tracy, I try to move it all around to see what day works best. We've kind of settled on Thursday afternoons at 4:00. So if you go to my website, which is hillgrouplaw.com, I always have my next 4 events posted. It's real easy to register. You just click on one of the boxes there and it walks you through a little submission form. Like I said, we welcome everybody. These aren't secrets we think that should be out there. They're things we think people should understand. So we really take pride in, getting that message across in that workshop. If you come to that workshop because you have a problem you want to take care of, you get to meet with me for nothing afterwards. That's the role I have. If you're willing to come learn about what I do, well, then I'm happy to sit down with you and have that educated discussion about what you're going through. I don't charge for those kind of things, Tracy. I just don't feel the need to. I think that's what the community deserves, essentially, is to understand what's happening.
Awesome. So when you talk about these type of things about estate planning, so for instance, I'll just use my own personal experience. So my mother, has her home, and we've been talking about, what are we doing? Are we purchasing it or, stuff? So those are the things that I think a lot of people my age are starting to talk with their parents about, like, what is going to happen to your home? What do you do whenever you go into a nursing home? These are serious questions, for people. So whenever you talk about that, in your 90-minute presentation. They can meet with you afterwards, you mentioned, and then they can
Yeah,
actually go on case by case that you can get with them on their particular situations and find out what's there, right? Okay.
absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. And why is, the topic today is why is it so important? So let's just dive deep into like, what are the reasons? Can you lose your home? This kind of things. Can you lose your life savings over your retirement? Can you go into that in a little bit?
Absolutely, Tracy. And listen, it's really easy. It all boils down to the nursing home. And I don't want anybody out there to think that a nursing home is an evil place. Number one, I'm going to start there. All right. Because I spend a lot of time in them and I have a lot of friends that work in them. Nobody has the objective of ending up in a nursing home. But unfortunately, a third of us are going to spend time in a nursing home before we pass away. And the problem with that is the cost. Right now, Tracy, according to Medicaid, that's a government program that pays for nursing homes. It costs $411.23 a day to be in a nursing home.
Oh,
That works out to about $15,000 a month.
oh,
And, look, most people I represent are not wealthy people. All right. We're Johnstowners. We're Cambria counters. We worked hard. We're blue collar. You might be lucky enough to have your house and maybe a couple $100,000 stashed away. But if you end up going into a nursing home, how fast is $200,000 left at $15,000 a month? It doesn't last long at all. And where this puts pressure is on, well, people like you, Tracy, right? What I typically deal with is what I call the sandwich generation. Those of us who are 40, 50, 60s, all right, taking care of our parents, all right, which we didn't plan on doing. But of course, we're going to take care of our parents. That's how we were raised, right?
yes.
And when you go to take care of your parent, you want to have as many options as possible to keep them comfortable. And when they look at the balance sheet and they see that there's maybe only $50,000 there and mom or dad's going into a nursing home, the realization hits like that. It's going to be gone. And then what am I going to do? Who's going to pay for it then? Where are they going to go? That's the exact specific problem that I specialize in. It's the nursing home. And thankfully, if you have time to plan ahead, you can give yourself really good options when it would come time for that still give you the same level of care. It just preserves what you worked so hard for your family so that your spouse isn't left with nothing if something would happen to you, or your family is left with a huge mess. Even if you don't have time to plan ahead, what I also basically specialize in, Tracy, is a government program called Medicaid. Now, a lot of you have probably heard about Medicaid before. And what we think is just Medicaid is health insurance for people who are poor. All right, that's basically what they think it is. But that's not the reality. A very large component of what we use Medicaid for, especially here in Pennsylvania, is to pay for the nursing home. It's because of that fact that I mentioned, Tracy, nobody can afford it. And the sad reality is that most people who end up in a nursing home run out of money. And when they run out of money, the nursing home will put them on Medicaid because that's how they get paid. And they get paid well, all right, by this program, but that's why it exists. Again, what most people don't understand is how those Medicaid rules work. We actually have really good Medicaid rules here in Pennsylvania, Tracy. So good, in fact, that if you're married, I don't care how much money you have, I can get anyone on Medicaid and that'll pay for the nursing home. We don't want you to have to lose your money in this state. But if nobody understands how those rules work and they're not aware that they're there, they let it happen all the time. And sometimes they wait too long to get answers to where they don't have good options left. So that's another reason we practice the way we do here at my firm. Again, the reason behind these workshops is just to get the word out. I laugh all the time with some of my friends in the industry. I don't have competitors. There's so much of this work to go around, Tracy. I couldn't do it myself if I tried.
Right.
It's just that nobody understands that it's there. So again, that's a big reason why we preach about it. And that is the reality. I don't want to scare anyone out there, but yes, you can lose your house to Medicaid. You can lose everything you work for in the matter of a year or two if you don't get out in front of it and pay attention to it. So that's who I usually am trying to reach, are folks like you and me, right? People who have parents who we're trying to help out, trying to take care of, trying to make sure they have what they need. And if you have a resource like what we can offer, it just makes that a much easier road to navigate.
So we talk about like the elderly needing that and stuff. What age do you work with even too? Like, people that are young adults, they should actually be thinking about this stuff now, correct? And so do you work with them as well?
Yeah, absolutely, Tracy. the focus of what we do is, of course, protecting assets as we age. But the sad reality is that principle applies to all of us. I'll take me as an example. All right. My wife and I have been married for about 16 years now. And we have two teenagers, 15 and 13. You better believe it. We have an estate plan in place because we could both get hit by a bus tomorrow. And if that happens, all of a sudden, there's a lot of money in insurance that's going to go to my 15 and 13-year-old. And the last thing I'm going to do is let my 15 and 13-year-old have their hands on a bunch of money, Tracy. That's not what we do with teenagers, all right? Because I know where it'll go, all right?
Yeah.
Right into the Xbox or into a
Right.
new Corvette, right?
Yep.
So my philosophy of protecting assets applies to everyone I deal with, right?
Mhm.
I basically say that everyone needs the same estate plan. It's just how we use it. So for example, in my estate plan, the way I do asset protection, Tracy, what makes me different from a traditional estate planning lawyer is I work with trusts. Trusts are the way that we protect money nowadays, whether it's for somebody else, for ourselves, you name it. So for example, in my estate plan, I don't just leave money directly to a 15 and 13-year-old. Upon me and my wife's mutual passing, a trust gets created for my son and a trust gets created for my daughter. And there's people in charge to help them manage that money until they're old enough to know what to do with it. I mean, these are things that, again, we don't like to think about, but the minute you turn 18, you need an estate plan. If you don't put your own documents together, Pennsylvania has an estate plan for you, Tracy.
So you better
You
do
may
it
not like
yourself.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The easy example I use all the time is with the most basic legal document you can have, a financial power of attorney. A financial power of attorney is very straightforward. It's just where you tell us if you can't handle your own money, who's going to do it for you? The reason that's so important to have is if you don't have that in place, there's nobody under Pennsylvania law who automatically gets to do that for you. Not your parents, not your spouse, not a child, nobody. At that point, a judge is going to appoint someone to handle your money for you. And that's as fun as it sounds. So nothing against judges. But, think about it, 18-year-olds, my gosh. If you send your 18-year-old to college, here's a fun trip. Call the college once they're there and ask what their grades are. They're not going to tell you. All right. But if you have your child sign a financial power of attorney saying that you can get their information, you can get their grades, Tracy. See, these are things we don't think about, and I hate to say it. I've come across those by having done this so long that I've seen the tragedies. I've been in a hospital room with a 20-something who was in a car accident, and I have to tell their parents, well, gee, before you can help them, we have to go through a guardianship proceeding, So little things you can do to plan ahead really aren't that expensive, and it just saves your family an enormous mess in case anything would ever go wrong.
Well, thank you for being, having all these resources for everybody. And I love
Yeah.
the fact that you hold the events, because that's something like you're saying, I haven't heard that before too often in your category. Like, there's events for all kinds of things, but having an event to actually discuss these important topics is awesome. So,
Yeah. I even make it fun, Tracy, I promise.
yeah, my
Good
mom
job.
enjoyed it. She ended up going, she really liked it. So,
That's great.
okay, before we jump off here, guys, I'm just going to show you something, what CambryCounty.com is real quick, because you'll be able to find the events on here. So I know you're going to be, Dan, putting your events on here that they could just search there as well, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so CambryCounty.com, we had started this to help support different businesses in the industry, or I'm sorry, in Cambry County. So where did mine go? I had it up and ready to go, and now it's gone. All right, let me bring this back up real quick. Oh, it's on my other screen. There it goes. All right, so CambryCounty.com is a directory for all the businesses, events, and attractions, and different things in here. So I'm going to just real quickly. So if you're looking for different businesses, you can come right up to here. You can search by like food, restaurants, places in the mall, salons, that kind of stuff. This is a growing website. You're not going to come here and find 50,000 different jobs, or anything like that. We are really going to start working extremely hard on this website here in the next few weeks by getting different categories filled up here. So for example, if you are, let me just run to this homepage real quick. So I'm going to plug something real quick. So we're having a beauty and wellness expo on Sunday, December 3rd, and that's at the Masonic Temple. So that's a really cool thing because there's wellness and there's so many people talking about eating healthy and stuff. We have some farms coming in to talk about healthy and organic foods and gluten-free and all kinds of stuff. And there's exercise things and also hair and spa type of things. Upcoming events. This is probably our biggest thing, the reason why people come to CambriaCounty.com. You can come here and find all the different events that are going on in the county. There's different businesses that we spotlight throughout the year. So let's just take a peek at this real quick, events, because this is where your things will live. You're going to be putting them on, you said. First Summit Arena, guys. I know you see me posting their events all the time because we are thrilled. You know, for many years, it seemed like there was really good things and then there was really nothing. The people that have taken over that are doing an exceptional job about bringing different things to the community. So I know my kids like, you know, Disney, so that's coming up. They have tons of different concerts there. Aria Speedwagging is coming October 3rd. So go through here and see all the different events that are going on in the county. If you actually have an event yourself, it's really easy to come get a listing. You're just going to create an account, come to add a listing, and you're going to add an event. It costs you nothing to do this on CambriaCounty.com to add an event here. We want to help promote different businesses in the area. So all you have to do is walk through the process. You will not see your event right away, just so everybody's clear on that, because everybody messaged me right after. I don't see it. It goes through a process. We have to look at it, make sure it's legit, check for spelling, check for all that kind of stuff, make sure your links work. So that's what we have going on. I know we have more, but I'm not going to go all through that today. Let me stop the share. All right. So thank you guys, everybody, for joining CambriaCounty.com, our Facebook group. If you can share this out, it's going to help someone. You know that. Dan talked about a lot of things that can help different people of all different ages. So please share this out. We'll be creating a YouTube channel very soon for CambriaCounty.com, and a lot of those will live in there too. So, all right. Thank you so much, Dan, for today. And I'm sure you will be helping a lot of people.
You too, Tracy. Thanks for
All
what
right.
you're doing with this.
Oh, thanks. Have a great day. See ya.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.